Oh, you know what I just realized, Brad? I turned the link on. I went live, and I was speaking, but there was nobody there. I hadn't put myself on the stage yet. So
I just texted you and said, you're in the green room, dude. So am I.
yeah, I didn't realize that. So I'm going to do this again for those who have joined. And there was nothing going on here. Our apologies. I did turn this on, and I started speaking just because we needed to turn it on, because there's a cutoff for Facebook and a lot of the other platforms that if you don't start within 10 minutes of your start time, the link goes away. So I did start speaking, forgetting that I hadn't put myself live on camera. So with that said, welcome everyone. And you saw Brad just joined us as well. I'll bring you on screen here in a moment. We are going to be doing a recap today of our first day. As a matter of fact, let me bring you on now, Brad, or you're already on, but let me bring you on the screen as well. So Brad and I did our first Relationship Revolutions Masterclass session on Wednesday, or I should say he did it. I was just helping out, collaborating, and also continuing to learn from him as well. So we're going to do a bit of a recap today, but just so you know what we're going to do at 12 o'clock. So in about 12 o'clock Eastern, in about a half hour, we're going to have an incredible interview with the one and only Glenn Morshower. Many of you will know him. He is a world-renowned actor. He's been an actor for somewhere around 50 years or something like that. We're darn close to it. He's been in more movies, more shows than you can even imagine. For those who don't know Glenn Morshower, you can look him up. We're going to be having an incredible conversation about life, right? The question being, are you living your life by chance or by choice? Are you living it based on your dreams and desires or someone else's? Are you living life on the script that you wrote, or are you working on someone else's script? So that's an important conversation we're going to have. So we're looking forward to that. So join us in about a half hour. If you're available, streaming, of course, wherever you're watching us now. And feel free to share this video. In the meantime, I did want to, again, Brad, good morning. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, you too. You too. I'm just looking for the button once I got in here to share it on more streams so we can make sure everybody knows we're out here. And I did it on my YouTube, but now I can't find out where that is. It in the sidebar where we can share?
It's on top right hand corner. It looks like I see that you've linked your Facebook is what I see linked so far.
Oh, Facebook. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can't find anyway.
Yeah, you should be able to just keep playing with that. I'll talk for a couple of minutes and just let people know my thought experience was on the class. So
yeah, that's what I want to do today for sure.
Yeah, we did the first masterclass on the Relationship Revolution, which is, of course, not just contact management, but it's staying front of mind with the clients that you're working with, the people that are in your network. Because as we mentioned the other day, there are so many people that are just focused on that new client acquisition, that new lead acquisition, getting that new person into that database, but they forget and neglect the people that are already in their database, your existing sphere of influence, your past clients and customers, your friends, your family members, people that in your neighborhood, in your community, from church, whatever it is. Those are already those warm leads. Those are the people that already know and hopefully like you, right? And hopefully trust you. So it's good to nurture those relationships, because oftentimes we neglect those, and that's where the gold is, right? So often we go out in the world looking for something that we want, and don't realize that we've had it and be sitting on it the whole time. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and that's exactly what that book is about. So if you haven't had an opportunity to read it, check it out. So with that said, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for the recap. Of course, Brad is the genius behind the Relationship Revolution, and we talked about a lot of things, including how to add people to your network, and how to cultivate and how to really work that work. When I say work it sounds a little impersonal, but how to manage and how to deal with the people that are already in your network. So Brad, if you want to take it away, give us a little bit of a recap.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and again, the genius behind it. What's really funny is I will say there's not new information that you might hear when you get into, if you join the Relationship Revolution and you get into really, truly like bring the relationship piece to your business. Because when you are connected with people And now we're talking at a deeper level of know, like, and trust. Like we're talking influence relationships, right? You can't influence somebody to do something if they just know you, or they might like you, but they might not, you might not have influence over them to get them to do something. When they know, like, and trust you, and you've gotten to that level, then you are influencing people, and you're also on a different level to where you can, I mean, a lot of times you can see and read what their needs are. And if you have something to fulfill that need and they know you, like you, and trust you, they're going to join. The relationship revolution, perfect example. If you don't come in and join this, then you and I must not be what, like, we have not really connected or bumped into each other enough that, you know, like this is genuine information. It's not a sales course that you buy that's going to generate 100 sales for you. And there's a lot of that out there. There's lead machines that do generate leads, and they can tell you you're going to get 100 leads, you're going to get 20 people on the phone, you're going to close 5 of them. Sign up for my program, or it costs money to do that every month. What this piece is the piece that amplifies and guarantees those results to be double, triple, or more what it would be if you don't put this relationship piece into the puzzle. And I think, I mean, even Tony, you're going through this, and I think every time we go through it, maybe that's what I want to kind of hear a little bit, that like the world that we grew up in and what we are programmed to do and say, no matter how relationship and connected, and, you know, I'm a great connector with people, I can talk to people all day long, versus bringing this in on purpose and really moving more people to that level. I think you've already experienced enough just in the last few sessions that we kind of overviewed, that there's more to the relationship revolution than just getting in front of people. Like, as soon as your brain slips back to, well, I could send them a text, or I could send them an email, and you haven't made a phone call, and you haven't written them a handwritten note, and you don't have their address, you're already disconnected from the level we're working at. And so you're probably even more so experiencing that more than anybody.
Well, I would say so. And the personal experience that I have is that, again, I've met Brad probably 5 years ago on this little app called Clubhouse, and we've been hanging out ever since. And the cool thing is, shortly after I met him, I got a handwritten note, and then I got an email, and then I got a letter, and then I got another letter, and then I got a letter for my birthday, and then I got a letter for my half birthday. That was freaking classic, right? Getting a letter for your half birthday, because I've never even heard of that, right? So, and that's when you send somebody their birthday on, but a card on their half birthday, right? 6 months after their birthday. Nobody's doing that, right? So you're automatically, it's kind of funny, it's quirky, it's cute, but you're like, wow, that's amazing. That's how you know that, again, people don't know how much you care until they know how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's the little things. And while I know that is part of his system, he scribbled a little note on it, right? A little smiley face or something, personalized it. So I know that it was him because I know his personality. And I get the Christmas, and I get the Easter, and I get, hey, it's springtime, time to go plant your tomatoes or whatever you're doing. And just the extra touches of that are impressive. And, you know, the beauty of it is, you know, been talking to Brad, and I know that Brad is busy as heck today, even though we have kind of we have this and we have the other podcast coming up with our mutual friend. He's busy as heck, right? He's got 2 listing appointments today. He's negotiating 2 offers on 2 of his listings, and he's putting an offer on another listing himself and everything else. And what he said to me last night, and again this morning, he says, Tony, the machine is working so well that I'm just getting overwhelmed with calls. I mean, the business, I don't call anybody, they call me. And that's because you are making those calls, you are making those contacts, adding 5 people a day and sending out 5 letters a day and making those, you're walking your talk. And, you know, I think it's impressive. And I admire that about you. And I too, and I'm learning, because I want to be better at contact management. I want to be better at reaching out and staying front of mind, because at the end of the day, all this is about is staying front of mind, so that when somebody talks about buying a house or selling a house or or an investment property or selling a property or buying whatever, you want to be front of mind to them, whether it's they're buying it or someone else is buying it. And when I say that, again, we're talking about real estate, but this isn't just about real estate. If you're thinking about refinancing and you're talking to somebody, if the person that you're talking to say, oh, you should talk to the guy who did my mortgage broker, then that means that mortgage broker isn't doing a good enough job to create that raving fan customer. He's not staying front of mind with his previous customer, which is a mistake, because then when his friend comes over and says, oh, I'm thinking about refinancing, there's a missed opportunity by the person. You know what I mean? So it's really all about that. And in a way, this conversation that I've had time and time again, I think you and I have had this conversation, is ultimately we are all in multi-level marketing. Nobody likes the MLM models. No, I don't do that. We all do that. Every single one of us does that. The only difference is you're not getting paid. Because every time you say, oh my God, let's go to lunch, where are you going to go? Oh, there's this great new restaurant just down the street. They have an incredible burger or whatever it is that you like to eat. And so you go there, or you recommend people there all the time. When you go in there yourself a week later, does somebody say, hey, 5 people came here, told me that you sent them over here, so here's a free meal? No. So you're not getting compensated for that referral. But the reality of it is, if that restaurant, if that mechanic shop, if that mortgage broker, whatever it is doing the right job and staying front of mind to the customers, and maybe even rewarding the customers that do send people over, then everybody benefits. So the reality of it is this, is staying front of mind for whatever industry you're in and creating that database. I mean, we all hear database, email list. Let me tell you, those are gold. Why? Because if they're handled properly, then they're gold mines, right? And again, Brad is experiencing that this week, where people just call them left and right because spring is around the corner. And as we know, the real estate market picks up. It always picks up. Doesn't matter what market you're in, good market, bad market. Come into February, beginning of March, things automatically start to come up, just like the dandelions in your garden. It's inevitable. You can't really stop them, right? So and Brad is doing a great job of that. So yeah, that's my experience here.
So I am going to kind of now throw myself back into the seat as like you going through it. So I go through it every day. And here's the funny thing, the way I like to put it in perspective on the relationship revolution and joining this and going through the actual 19 hours of on purpose content that builds all the systems in place to be able to handle 2, 3, 4 times more business than you handle now, and live a life, have a life and not have it run you. And so what I tell people all the time is that I'm doing it every day. Like what I do every single day in the morning on making my follow-up stuff, my system is telling me exactly what to do every morning. It tells me what calls to make, what letters to put in the mail, what email. Well, the emails and the automated stuff, I automate as much as I possibly can. However, I'm going to tell you, in the relationship revolution, if you pay attention to your automation, you will find mistakes going out, like bad mistakes on the relationship level, meaning you turn on this awesome email campaign that has 60% open rate. Whenever somebody tells me something like that, I would say, okay, so how many people are on your email campaign? 1,000. Okay, so you got a 60% open rate. Yes, 600 people are opening my email newsletter, and it's awesome. It's like, great. Out of those 600 people, how many transactions did you do from that? And I don't hear 60. I have tracked 60 sales to my awesome newsletter that has a 60% open rate. So keep in mind that a lot of things out there are trying to automate everything and take it completely out of our site so we can go sell real estate. And they give you open rates and they give you this and that and all these percentages and all this stuff. But ultimately, it comes down to how many closed deals did you get from it? And as soon as you look at that, let's just use that example, Tony, 60% open rate. So I have 1,000 people on the newsletter. I got 600 people that opened that newsletter. if those 600, actually out of the 1,000 people, 100 of them are moving every 12 months, according to the National Association of Realtors statistic that the average person moves every 10 years, right? So 100 of them are moving. But if my open rate is 60% and 600 people are being impressed by my newsletter, then there should be, at least divide by 10 years, 60 people that are doing business with me this year. So does your open rate, awesome thing, generate a 10% return, right? Are you closing 6 deals a month, 5 to 6 deals a month from that really cool newsletter? And I'm going to say that if you start tracking your numbers, which is another thing, this whole thing is a full business model, business plan, systematizing your business. And we start at the core of getting into relationship and putting that on a massive system so that when it starts kicking into gear, you can handle 60 sales or 5 sales a month or 10 sales a month. And anybody who joins us is probably going to do even higher numbers than what I have done for 20 plus consecutive, well, now 30 years, right? The machine works because I have also stopped using the machine for a year or two. And my business went from 100 sales and it was on its way to 30 sales. And as soon as I turned the machine back on and just started adding the people every day and putting them back on the follow-up system and writing the notes that Tony talked about, all of a sudden I'm back to 8 to 10. I mean, so Tony, in our world, I will cap out. There's a lot of companies now, they have cap structures and you can get to 100% or 90% or 95, depending on whatever your structure is. And there's even other companies that share even beyond that through like ownership in the company, or they share profits or they share revenue, all that stuff. Tony, I mean, literally following this system and doing what I do every single day and doing kind of the more boring, mundane stuff at the beginning, but making sure every day that I added new people to the database and I wrote notes. By doing that, I am going to go from capping out, going to 100% on my real estate business commission split to, by the end of this month or this, are we in March yet? No. By the end of next month, I might be even at the point where I am past everything and I don't pay anything anymore and I've got ownership in the company at a high level. That's going to happen within a month or two. And that is, guys, that is getting to probably about 30 or 40 sales in our world, right? Where Tony and I are. So that's getting there in just like 3 or 4 or 5 months is what the system does. And Tony's heard me say this before, every January 1st, I mean, every month you're kind of out of business as a real estate agent. Right now, I have 4, 5, 6 of my listings that have gotten contracts in the last 2 weeks that are going to be under contract. I was so thrilled to get to 8 or 10 because the system sells them before I can get enough listed. And I finally got my inventory up to where it's like, wow, I got like 8 or 9 listings. And now instantly overnight this week, I'm down to 2 listings left. So I'm
jealous.
Yeah. What's that?
I was going to say I'm jealous because we don't have inventory in New Jersey. That's our biggest holdup.
We don't either. We don't either, Tony. But here's why I want to bring it back to you. You talked about writing a little note on the letter. I can tell you the 5 listing appointments that I'm having right now today are not people that would have ever called me from some kind of automated drip campaign. These are the 5 appointments I got today. I can tell you all 5 of them. I remember. Now, I probably have 100 letters that go in the mail every single couple days or so. And so what I do when I got my letters going out, which is what I do in the morning before the sun's up, because I don't, I'm not calling people at 6:30 in the morning. This is my office lead gen time or lead cultivation time. When those letters are sitting there, I have 100 letters. I probably write a note, like Tony said, on maybe 10 of those, if even that, a day, right? So I don't write notes on every single letter. That would be a very bogged down, heavy system. In fact, the heaviest part of the system that I share is writing the notes every day, but it's not really a heavy lift. So I have chicken scratched just maybe 10 out of 100 a day. And I can tell you all 5 of those appointments came from a chicken note scratch that I know I dropped them a message, because my messages were something like, hey, I know it's been a little while. Hope you're doing well. Thought about you today, like they lost their spouse, right? And I don't write that note on her letter every single day. Every one of these appointments this week, they had a chicken note scratched letter in the bottom. So what I want to come back to is the automation part. You have to be careful in automation. What we teach you in the relationship revolution is how to add the personal touch without having to call 100 people personally. But though that chicken scratch letter is like making a phone call. And it's only like making a phone call because I did make a phone call previously, and I did send them a handwritten note previously, and they did get a call from me 4 weeks later or 4 months ago or whatever. More every year they hear my voice a couple times. So now when the chicken scratch note goes on that letter, it's as if I just picked up the phone and called them. And here's the realization I had going through this, even this week. I still have like these moments when I'm going through all this stuff. It's like, oh man, this chicken scratch note is seriously the power of a phone call. But I just chicken scratched like 10 notes in like less than 10 minutes. There's no way I could have called 10 people in 10 minutes. So you are adding the personal touch, you're systematizing it. And because you do add the personal touch back in more than once every 5 years, right? That you have to make that call out of the blue. Because I don't have to do that, every little thing that I put my hand on or touch, no matter how fast I do it, it's got the effect as if I was just in front of them. Because we've moved from just like knowing me or liking me to know, like, and trust and process. When Brad sends me stuff, I really do glance at it. They don't read the letter. Nobody's reading the letter. And so it's funny, like they're reading different things that mean something to them at the time, but they might skip 10 of the things that I send. But when they get the chicken scratch note in the bottom corner, because I just saw on Facebook that we were both at the same, we were both at the gym that night. He had posted pictures of being at the gym. I'm like, oh man, how did I miss you at the gym? I was there about the same time. That's what the chicken note scratch said. Right. So anyway, that's what the relationship revolution is about. And here's what I know for a fact. Every single person listening to this, unless you are closing 100 deals or more out of your database and your phone is ringing with business, those 5 appointments called me. And I would have never expected those 5 people to be the people that are thinking about moving right now. Right. So let me put that on there. That if you're a person that is not doing that from your database and getting calls every single day from people that are now starting to do stuff, then you haven't quite experienced the relationship revolution yet. You are running a good machine that runs a good business that gives you a good lifestyle, but there's a way better one out there that's 2, 3, 5, 7 times better if you can add this piece into it. And that's what we're going to bring, is the amplification of the results of everything that you're doing by automating the personal touch. But you're the personal touch. You're not going to use a machine to chicken scribe your note on something. It's you being connected to that person. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited that you're excited about it, Tony.
Listen, I'm excited about it. And, there was something you said, and I want to highlight this, because you said, okay, if you send out 1,000 newsletters, or there's 1,000 people on your email list, and you have a 600 person open rate, you need to track and follow to see what it is. You should be getting 10% of those, which is 60 transactions. And most people aren't getting that. They'd be lucky to get 6 of those transactions, because they're not doing what you're saying. Because it's not just about having a newsletter; it's about having those other personal touches. And the one thing that you and I both learned from one of our other business partners, Jason Cisneros, is, and of course, this might not be his quote or his comment, but I will credit it to him, because this is from him who I learned it from. Well, actually, it might have been Tony Robbins, but nonetheless,
it was probably Socrates, Tony.
Yeah, we'll go with Socrates. Is what gets measured gets managed. And if you don't measure whatever it is that you're doing, it's impossible to manage. if you don't measure what your open rate is to your newsletter, then how can you improve it? If you don't manage what the percentages of attrition or what the percentages of whatever it is that you're doing, then how can you manage and improve upon that? So that's what I'm going to kind of wrap up with today, is remember that what gets measured gets managed. And oftentimes we don't want to be measured. And the reason we don't want to be measured is because we don't want to be managed. But the reality of it is we all need to be managed, whether we're managing ourselves or we employ someone else to help us manage ourselves, or whether we have accountability partners. Listen, I tell my assistant all the time, I said, listen, you need to help manage me and my time. So if somebody wants to, book an appointment with me, whatever, more often than not, they're going through her because she manages my schedule better than I do. So what gets managed, and again, even your schedule, what gets measured gets managed. If you look at your schedule and you don't have the productivity that you want, you got to figure out where it is, where the gaps are, and then just start closing the gaps. Not all at once, because you can do that, but it's better to just slowly start to correct and move at your pace. So that's what I wanted to share with that. So back to you, Brad, for a little bit of a recap as we start to wind this down, because we have in about 8 minutes, we've got the podcast started with the one and only Glenn Morshower. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So here's a client that I just met yesterday that's in a jam on his house, and he's going through some personal stuff, and it's causing him to change his whole life situation. And he just tried to call while we were doing this call. So like life is really happening. And so all I texted was, hey, I'm on a call. I'll call you in a minute. He goes, hey, I know you're busy. And I actually literally responded, I am never too busy for you. I'm just on the other call, on another call at the moment. I'll call you back. So it is about being able to have that personal touch. And people do that to me all the time. I know you're busy. I know you're busy. Now, I never say, oh, no, I've got time for you. I was like, I am busy, but I've always got time for you. So just, and even like one time, and I know we're wrapping up, so I won't get.
By the way, that's a great distinction. I just want to highlight it before you go on. Guys, this is gold. This is a great distinction that you're hearing right now. Go for it, Brad.
Yeah. So like when I learned this awesome voicemail, it's like, I will be returning calls between 10 and 11 and 4 and 5. And I started using that voicemail, right? And then I would call them back because we were in relationship. It's like if your past client who loves you and who has sent you referrals, you wouldn't make them wait till 10 o'clock. If you got their voicemail at 8 and you actually are not out on an appointment, you would not make them wait till 10, even though your voicemail said 10. You'd call them back. And so that's where I kind of had this distinction start to come alive, because I would call people back just like I normally would. That was just to frame in and control my time or whatever it was, right? And I would call them back and they go, oh, I didn't think you were calling me back till 10. It's like, dude, I will always make time for you. I'm in between appointments, but I wanted to call you back right away. And so that's where, that's the distinction, is that you have a relationship with these people. You're not trying to convince a stranger to do business with you. You're not trying to get somebody to list their house now when they had no plan of listing their house. And when you look at some of the marketing stuff, it's like we're calling people, hey, you thinking about buying or selling? And then we're going to hit them with a real estate follow-up like afterwards. It's like 99% of the people aren't moving this month. So why are you going to hit them with all this real estate? It's about getting into relationship. And yes, don't let them forget you're in real estate, but it should be other stuff too. You live in a community. We sell lifestyle. We sell all this stuff. So this is just going to bring to light how much of your business does not have personal touches built into it. And right now, you said something, Tony, if there were 600 people open rate and 60 people are moving and we got 6 of them, I can tell you right now, without a shadow of a doubt, over the thousands of agents that I have taken through the process, set these systems up for, if you are listening to my voice, you are probably capturing about 10% of the business that is actually happening around you. And if you really, really think you are just this top of the relationship person and you are so connected with your database, the most I can probably give you is you are catching 20% of what is actually happening. Because if you just, and I'll leave you with this, this was one of the things we talked about on the first calls. If you open your database right now, I don't care how many people are in there, go from A to Z, do not skip over any names, just read each name all the way to Z and ask this one question. Have I talked to them in the last 2 weeks to 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days? And I want you to put a tally. If you have not talked to them in the last 30 days, make a tally of everybody from A to Z in the last 30 days. Dude, you are over 90% not talked to in the last 30 days, not you physically talking to them. So we just help you automate this part of the process and not become overwhelming. I mean, I said, enjoy your life, love your life, have fun. I have more fun than ever. Today's like kind of a stressful day only because I have no white space on my calendar. It's like I am going from this call to our next call, to a listing appointment, to an inspection, to showing a house, and a closing. So, I mean, it's like
whatever white space you had, I grabbed. So
yeah.
listen, I do want to wrap this up because
we got to go. Yeah. So anyway, join us.
Yeah. But before you go, and I'm going to do that in a minute, but I'm going to say this, that something that you said is you're going to call them and you're going to send them letters. You're going to say this, you want to sell, that's what every other agent in town is doing. Now, while there is something to that, because that does get business. If you're unique and you do something a little bit different, you're going to be above the crowd. You're going to stand out. That's what we got to do. We got to stand out instead of blending in. Stop trying to blend in and be like everybody else. Be unique, be you, and just, again, have the conversation, form those relationships, and be connected. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys.
With that said, we've got a call starting here in about 3-4 minutes. Another call, so it'll look kind of like this, except I think Brad will probably have that icon as well, or maybe not. Doesn't matter. But we're going to be starting this call in a couple of minutes. Join us, by the way. We'll be here on Monday, kind of chatting and giving the forecast for what we're going to be talking about on the Relationship Revolution Masterclass on Wednesday, and then of course Wednesday. Join us. Right now, it's open call, so to speak. You can join us for no cost. So thank you again for being here. Appreciate you all. Share this video if you got value from it, and invite people to these calls. Invite people to our Wednesday call. Heck, invite people to the podcast that we've got coming up in just 2 minutes. So thanks again for being here. Appreciate you. Brad, see you on the other side. Ciao for now.